Well, folks, brand new WNBA season fixing to start. So much excitement, especially after the crazy boost to the WNBA that happened last year. The addition of Caitlin Clark and the Caitlin Clark effect, the spike in attendance, the amazing spike in TV ratings. Suddenly, the WNBA on everybody's lips in the sports world. Everybody wanting to talk about that. Can they maintain that momentum? What are the Fever going to do this year? Caitlin Clark's team out, they've really bolstered their roster, and so many people have said, yeah, that's where I want to go. I want to be there where the money and the attention is. Just so much good stuff happening, and yep, Asia Wilson just opened her mouth. Ugh. Uh, she just can't help it. She's not in the conversation, and because she's unlikable, I've made videos about her before. And once again, she has to take zero personal responsibility for the fact that she is a very unlikable person and has to blame racism. Probably not the best time for that to happen, seeing as how we're in the middle of kind of a little bit of backlash on that, which I'll get to in a second. I don't really want to. I don't like talking about some of these social issues, but this one kind of has to draw into that because it is going to affect the WNBA. No league has attach themselves to social issues, especially the ones monitored on social media, quite the way the WNBA has, which has done absolutely nothing for them except draw even more people away from them than have in the past. So we're going to see there. So Asia Wilson claims that she's not marketable, not being marketed because she is a black woman. And that's the reason. She says, you look at the history, black women like me just can't be marketed, or I've forgot her exact verbiage, or some garbage like that. Saying, it's all about, we've never marketed, black athletes, black female athletes, and I have a few thoughts on that. First of all, tell me what WNBA players, other than Caitlin Clark, have been marketed well. And even Caitlin Clark, they've held her marketing back just not to piss off people like Asia Wilson, who's going to pitch a fit and call racism. Whereas the rest of us are fatigued by this, which again I'll get to in a second. Apparently Nike's not, and a lot of these companies that support these sports, which are very woke, they're not going to, or they're going to bend the knee every time. They'll hurt their bottom line to appease to this fringe audience that they look at social media and think is the majority when it's really not. So my question to Asia Wilson, first of all, is it a black woman problem or is it a WNBA problem? Why was Erica Della Dawn? Why has she never been marketed? Tall, white, blonde hair. Why has she not been marketed? Sabrina Ionescu, white, blonde. She's not been marketed very much at all. Brianna Stewart won 4 championships at the vaunted UConn, all everything, women's college basketball and all that garbage. Why has she never been? She's white. Why has she never been marketed that well? You got Diana Taurasi. I guess she's white, very much Italian white, but why has she not been? Like I said, has that? Not only is she white, she has that Italian type complex and is basically considered the GOAT of the WNBA era of women's basketball, soon to be taken away by Caitlin Clark in a few years if she stays healthy, but that's another story. Why has she not been marketed well? I mean, I could go on and down the list. Sue Bird. Sue Bird, she's married to Megan Rapinoe, the soccer star who's been attempted to be marketed and failed miserably. Just ask Subway. Who's also white and was not able to be marketed despite their best attempts. Why was Sue Bird not been attempted to be marketed? Another UConn alum. And why, why was her wife, the lovely and amazing personality that is Megan Rapinoe, why has she not been able to be marketed? So, and by the same flip of the coin, how come Serena Williams has been marketed well and has made quite a bit of money off of marketing? The answer is because people buy what Serena's selling. They actually like her. They like watching her game. She can crip walk at Super Bowl halftime shows all she wants. As long as the tennis is fun, we're going to tune in. She's kind of made her way into our lives forever now, and we're going to probably going to remember her for a long time. She'll be marketable a long time after retirement, kind of like Michael Jordan. Oh yeah, Michael Jordan. What about him? If race is an issue, why is it that even in the late '80s into the early '90s, he was far and away more marketable than Larry Bird? You got to remember, in '87, '88, '89, and '90, when Michael was really becoming Air Jordan. I mean, the commercials are everywhere. You want to be like Mike. He hadn't won a championship yet. He'd won one MVP in 1988. He won the Defensive Player of the Year that year as well. Larry Bird was a three-time champion and would have had five if it wasn't for that dynasty of the Lakers of Kareem and Magic and Big Game James. And then they had to run across the Pistons, the same team that was beating Michael Jordan every year at the time. But Larry Bird was a three-time MVP. He won his three consecutively. Could have won it again in '87, though. Of course, Jordan could have won it in '87 too. But that's neither here nor there. That team wasn't winning. Michael Jordan had one MVP and no championships. Larry Bird had three championships, three MVPs, and he wasn't marketed nearly as good as Michael Jordan was. Larry Bird is very, very white, blonde hair, the little pencil mustache, blonde mustache, kind of had like a mullet at one point. It seemed like the hick from French Lick, Indiana, from out there in the country in Indiana, went to the University of Indiana. I didn't like it. Thought it was too big and fancy schmancy for him, so he went to Indiana State instead. And he was not marketed nearly as much as the at the time ringless and one MVP winning Jordan. So why is that? I mean, Larry was white, Michael was black, so shouldn't Larry have been marketed much better? Well, see, Michael had a charisma about him. His game had an amazing charisma about it. I mean, I love Larry Bird's game, don't get me wrong. I mean, watching his passes and his court IQ and his court vision is amazing, but man, nothing beats Air Jordan. The stuff he did was amazing. And then once he started winning championships, forget about it. It was over as far as the most beloved ever, and that's something that's not been touched, and he's still the GOAT. Thank you very much, LeBron. But this is not about that. So my question to Asia would be, what about that? How come in the mid-'90s, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it seemed like Emmitt Smith was marketed way better than Troy Aikman. It's always been a quarterback-driven league, and Troy Aikman was the 6'5", tall, white, sandy blonde hair maybe. I mean, just all-American. And, Emmitt Smith was an undersized running back, black. But he had a magnetic personality, and we loved him. And it seemed to me like he got more marketing opportunities than Troy. Or at least it was equal. I mean, so why was Troy not, by and far the center of attention there? So that's some questions you got to ask for sure. So that's just Asia not taking any responsibility at all, and she just wants to take the easy way out and blame it on race. We kind of saw the same thing from Draymond Green. He once again had an angry fit, and once again got ejected, and once again cost his team. I'm just going to say, I think that Golden State Warriors team, because we know he cost them the championship in 2016 getting suspended. If you replace Draymond Green with a top 20 defender in the league, a top 20 defensive anchor in the league, I think Golden State has about 5, 6, maybe even 7 championships by now. I think Draymond Green has hurt them because he has no emotional control. He gets in foul trouble. He gets in technical trouble. And the team that's built with him to do his role, even though it involves doing a triple single every night, when he's gone, he's made himself gone way too many times, caused way too many locker room issues, and, I think they would have won more without him, but he just recently, after that, he said, I'm sick of being portrayed as the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a well-educated, good family man, black man. Well, I'm well-educated, and I got a family, and guess what? I don't mean a hill of beans. All that matters is how you present yourself. He is a very angry person with no emotional control, and he happens to be black. So, if he thinks that's us stereotyping him because he's black, he's wrong. He's a hothead, and quite honestly, he's a thug and a goon, much like Bill Laimbeer. Bill Laimbeer is the first one you think about when you think about NBA goats, not a goat, goons and thugs. Bill Laimbeer is the biggest goon and thug in NBA history. very, very white. No athletic ability. People talk about, oh, he revolutionized the stretch five. No, he went back and shot threes because that's all he could do. The man literally could not jump. Necessity is the mother of invention. He had to figure out something to keep his spot on that bad boy Pistons team other than just taking every cheap shot possible. And we remember it like that. We remember him as a goon and a thug. So we see this. We see this, and we're not stupid, and we're sick of falling into this and having to explain ourselves. There's been this trend going on. You've seen it on social media called black fatigue. Now, I personally like to refer to it as woke fatigue, but it's called black fatigue. They're just saying, that people are sick of it. But it's really the wokeness that we're sick of. We're sick of being told, especially as white people, we're the problem. We're the ones, causing these issues. We're suppressing and oppressing black people, and, we're the devil. They would be so much better were it not for us. Everything we do is awful and racist. So we give, and that's not enough. We need to give more. We give more, and that's not enough. And, we're sick of it. And finally, a lot of people are starting to say how they feel. Stuff that, quite frankly, would have got you canceled in a second and doxxed badly back in the, just 5 years ago, in the last 5 or 6 years, even before COVID. People forget how much that was going on. And after COVID and St. George Floyd of fentanyl came along, I mean, it was really bad, but now it's a pendulum. They shoved that pendulum so far and so far up, now it's going to swing back down, and you're just seeing the start of that. And quite honestly, I fear for how this backswing of the pendulum is going to go. And I hope it's not bad. I hope we, as white people, can, not let it go down too strongly and too violently and too far to the other side. Too violently and too far to the other side. But I don't know. I can't guarantee that. But like I said, to me, it's more woke fatigue. A lot of these woke people, mostly white people, mind you, have really used black people in this stereotype of what it means to be black and to have blackness. They've used that to try to foster chaos. They want Marxism and socialism. It's being run from up top. They want the more chaos, the easier it is to control us. The easier it is to bring in socialism and Marxism, where the people up top have all the control, and they do it under the guise that we're all equal. Well, equally poor, but that's socialism for you. And like I said, look, capitalism has its flaws. I'm not going to sit here and say it's perfect, but it's the closest thing to perfection that we have. And socialism has never been the answer. It never will be the answer. And it's not the answer today. And we're finally fighting back against that. And I guess people see that as us fighting back against black people. Well, that's not the case. And what might appear to as being us fighting back against black people is actually us fighting back against the woke. I know in Minnesota, that lady used the N-word to a 5-year-old autistic kid, something I could never do in a million years. Started a GoFundMe because people were doxing her and putting her personal information out there, as they tend to do. And last I checked, she's gotten about $700,000. If she's able to invest her money wisely, which, judging by the video, I don't know if she will be or not, but I mean, she can live off that pretty well for a long, long time. Give a good life to her children, but we'll have to see. And like I said, while it's something I could never do, and I've not given any money to that GoFundMe or Cash Fund Quick, whatever it is, I think a lot of people have given to it just as their way of saying, look, we're sick of it. They're not. I guarantee you 99% of the people that have given to that fund would never do what she did in a million years. But they're just saying, okay, you all have that kid who killed that guy in Texas. Y'all want to have a big GoFundMe and give them a lot of money when he pretty clearly committed cold-blooded murder, premeditated cold-blooded murder? Well, here, let's show you what we can do. It's kind of like are you sure you want to take on this battle type thing. That's my take on that. And, recently they put a statue up in Times Square of a fat black woman, just looking horrible, overweight. She had her hands on her, not even her hips, on the back part of her hips, like pregnant women do, to help support the weight. She's overweight. She's in way too tight of clothing. Like I said, she looks bad, and I'm thinking to myself, that's your idea of what a black woman is? So if you're Asia Wilson, how about fighting back against that? She had a statue made of her at South Carolina, the University of South Carolina. Um, for her, it's her looking athletic and shooting the ball. Why aren't they putting that statue in Times Square? Why are they, saying, okay, this is what black women are like, and making them look terrible? So Asia, her priorities all over the place, because for her to do that, she would have to actually take a stand, an unpopular stand, and take accountability for herself and say, look, this is me. I'm here. Good things have happened to me because of this. I've kept myself in shape. I've taken advantage of my athletic gifts, and I've parlayed that into a lucrative sports career. Now, I'll tell you, they're underpaid, even though the league has never made a dime and loses money every year. But the fact is, she has made money that a lot of us wish we could make. And that could be her chance to, talk about that and talk about how good that is, but she's not going to do that. Why? Because she's Asia Wilson. She can't take responsibility. She can't say, okay, here's the good things that are happening and why they're happening. Here's the bad things that are happening and why they're happening. I don't know. It's pretty bad, isn't it, Loki? You tell him. Loki, tell him. Yep. See, even Loki knows. So, I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see are we going to have a repeat of 2024 in the WNBA this year? I'm going to tune in to watch Caitlin Clark. I love watching her play. I love watching the Fever play. Her and Aaliyah and Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull and the new cast. Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham. Looking forward to it. But gosh, I mean, it's just, you can't help but wonder how many of these seasons like this can we take? How much can Caitlin Clark carry them until we finally just say, can't do it no more? It's just like, that's where the fatigue comes in. It's just go out there and play basketball. You've begged for attention. You finally have it. Maybe it's not the way you hoped it would. Well, guess what? That's life. Deal with it and take advantage of what you have. Because if y'all blow up this opportunity, not just the WNBA, but I think women's sports as a whole will be damaged forever. I truly believe that. I don't think that's just hyperbole. The backlash that's going on that they're calling black fatigue is just really a reaction to that. Like I said, I don't think it's directed at black people as a whole. We understand, stereotypes and the fact that, a lot of people don't fit these stereotypes that they want to say makes a person a authentic black man or an authentic black woman or having authentic blackness. Thank you, Ryan Clark, you dumbass. Seriously, you're stupid. You can sit there and put on all your fancy suits and try to talk all smart. You're dumb. You're just as dumb as Kendrick Perkins, but at least Kendrick Perkins talks like a dummy. So, Nick Wright is as dumb as him. So, but that's the problem. That's my take on that, and just makes you wonder if Asia and them are continue to fuck it up. Maybe they are. I mean, they're going to try to. I know they are, but again, where is the WNBA going to step up and say, no, we're not doing this? Is the NBA going to step up and say, we're not doing this? Or we're going to pull our support for good? And you might want to pray that Caitlin doesn't get hurt if we do that. You lose your paycheck overnight. It's just, I don't know. I'm interested to see where it goes. And tell me what you guys think. What are they going to do? Is there somebody going to step up this year? We're going to go through the same thing last year and finally get burned out. And is Caitlin Clark's amazing, phenomenal ability to capture our imagination is going to not even be enough? The preseason games drew a ton of ratings. So we'll have to see. Talk to you guys later. Take care.